Here comes a new challenger!
Hello there everyone, and welcome to Not Everyone Is Here, and in this episode we're covering Resident Evil. This series got spirits quite a bit back, but with Kazuya joining the fray and Heihachi being in Mii costume around last year this time, it makes sense for me to revisit series that didn't really seem like they had much of a chance because they either had post-launch spirits, post-launch Mii costumes, etc. But now with this, we are able to talk about these franchises again, I feel, especially now that we know our final character is still yet to not be revealed. We're not gonna know who they are for quite a bit, so until that time comes, I think it would be much more interesting to basically discuss who is going to be, you know, our final character. And so we're just gonna go over some franchises that were spirited and such. And so let's begin with Resident Evil. Why Resident Evil? Well, people are thinking Capcom nowadays, and when it comes to the Resident Evil spirits, a lot of the big ones were kind of just outed from that one, like Wesker, Chris, Leon, and Jill. But the thing about spirits is that they could easily just have a fighter spirit for those characters. So like, say if Chris was playable, then obviously Chris would have a different spirit, right? Though preferably for me, I'd like Leon way more. Leon has not been as many spin-offs or as many crossover games as the other two have, right? Being Chris and Jill. And Leon is just as, if not more important than them, because Leon is from Resident Evil 4, you know? Well, he's in Resident Evil 2. That was his first appearance. But Resident Evil 4 is credited as one of the biggest games out there, and without Leon being the character that he was, you know, I know that game is very good. It's a very good game. I haven't played it myself, have watched cutscenes, but what I will say is that I do enjoy Leon's personality and is one of the reasons why I considered getting the game. I feel like Leon is just, in a sense, more important, even though Chris is obviously the face of the series. You could argue Wesker for a time, but it seems that he is now out of the picture since Resident Evil 5. Though we didn't see a body, but whatever, you know, they could always bring him back. And before, you know, Capcom really started bringing in the games, you know, I feel like the only characters you could argue Smash needed to have was just Mega Man and Ryu, but now I feel like Resident Evil is definitely that, it has to be in Smash, alright? If you're gonna pick a Capcom series after, you know, Street Fighter and Mega Man, it's gotta be Resident Evil. Resident Evil sort of just grew to that point, right? I feel like after Resident Evil, you can just sort of go with whatever character you kind of want to get. But I feel like Resident Evil for sure is one of those, it has to be there before any other franchise now because of the status, you know, it got. I feel personally though, that maybe if, you know, like I said, I want Leon, but it'll likely be either Chris or Jill, or maybe a tag of both. I mean, like I said, it's not like I didn't grow up with the series. I did, in a sense. I grew up playing Resident Evil 1 and 2, but I never played anything past those when I was younger. And personally, you know, when it comes to Resident Evil, I just don't know how they do it outside of like what I've seen from Marvel vs. Capcom, so I can't even speculate about moveset predictions and stuff like that. But I would like to see it if it was the next like if Capcom was to get a rep, basically, I would like that one to be the next one. It makes the most sense. It's one of Capcom's big three. I actually think it's Capcom's biggest franchise from last I recall, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Regardless, Resident Evil has exploded in popularity ever since the sort of the downward angle Resident Evil 6 brought it, but after Resident Evil 7 and now 8, it's definitely reached, you know, one of Capcom's biggest franchises. So I wouldn't be surprised if Capcom was like, okay, look, Sakurai, you gotta have, you know, one of our Resident Evil characters. As to which one, hey, you know, we don't know yet, but it's gotta be one of them, right? So with that, what other franchises that were post-launch spirits, post-launch Mii's would you like me to discuss? I don't think I'll be covering Mii's from, at the very least, Sephiroth. So Sephiroth, obviously, Pyramithra Mii's, maybe even, you know, whoever comes with Kazuya. I don't think I'll be covering them, so we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, this is the end of the video, but of course there will be more of these videos to come. With that all being said, please take care of yourselves. 1,000 subs before the end of the year, as I always say, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Take care of yourself. Peace.
I'm coming through, partner, we can do this right. You're the fire, I'm the wind tonight. Burning dread, haha, that's right.